over the last couple of months, really having you spending all your time, and I know you're doing this on a complimentary basis, and we sure appreciate it. It's just a way for everyone here in North America to really touch and talk to someone like you, who is a professional guide. I mean, you know everything. And it's really kind of neat that you're able to do this. So tell us about what's going on in Florence right now, because I know a lot of people who are coming in really want to learn what's going on in Italy. I mean, the virus, I know we have to talk about it right now, but what's going on?
Well, little by little, it's getting better. I mean, by this moment, it's a kind of light lockdown. So like 10 p.m., we have to be back home, and there's curfew at night. So same as anywhere else in Europe. But percentage of population has been vaccinated, like the people over 80, professionals like policemen, physicians, teachers. So little by little, of course, it's going to get better. But by this time, we have to pay a lot of attention because of the several variations, correct, of the virus. Yeah. So we still have to take care, but in a few months, we hope, same as you,
you were telling me before we got on live, we were able to chat privately. You're actually telling me a little story of what happened.
Yeah. I, like, my mother is 97 and still she's waiting, but this week she gets the first dose of the vaccine. But I made a phone call just to know when my vaccine is going to be. I'm 52 and well, in good shape. And so the people answer, the person answering at the call center told me, don't worry, sit down and relax, as if to say, and probably about me, it's going to be like September, October. My category will be vaccine in September, October. So now it's over 80 and they started to vaccine people around 75. And you know.
What was really kind of interesting though is that same as Ciao Tours, I mean, we're all getting eager to go over to Italy. I mean, I can't wait to drink the wine and have the food. I mean, it's just, we can't wait to get on that airplane.
Same as we do. We look forward to go back to Italy.
we're all looking forward. We're all looking forward to really, and the time's going to come, and I think the time when everything does open up, I think it's going to be really exciting to, it's going to be almost like an explosion. You know what I mean? Because we all want to go back to Italy. We all want to talk to you. We all want to learn about Pisa, what we're going to learn today. And I think everyone can't wait to get on an airplane.
Yeah. And we can't wait.
Safe. I mean, we know it's going to be safe. We know Europe is going to be safe. And I think we know in our hearts that we will be able to travel soon.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, we just have to be patient and follow the rules and discipline for some more time, but we should be at the end of the tunnel.
And then we hopefully get back to somewhat, I don't know what normal is, but I think, we've always dealt with small groups and we've always dealt with individuals. So our parameters for Ciao Tours is really never going to change because that's kind of who we are. We like the personal experience of being able to be with our clients just one-on-one. I think we get a lot more benefit. And I think you enjoy it also, the comparative of being with a large group or being with individuals. I think you really enjoy that as well, don't you?
Yeah, sorry.
No, we're doing technical issues here too.
Great.
Okay.
We're really looking forward to it because our lives completely changed, of course. I'm talking about me and my colleagues, Luca and Bernardo, professionally speaking. It's like, you know, it's all upside down. I
It
mean,
sure
you
is.
used to spend most of our lives outside, and now it's different. We used to walk and talk a lot, and now it's the opposite.
You
So,
know, what's also really nice is that we have a lot on the webinar here today. We have so many different. We have people from the USA. We have people from Ontario. We even have people from the UK that are online. So welcome to our webinar here. We're going to start in a couple of minutes. Everyone's just coming in right now. I know Lara, who's sitting over in Siena, she's admitting everybody. But we literally have so many people all around the world coming to listen to what you have to say regarding Pisa. So welcome. I'm welcome. We have the Chapman family. I think we have 3 people from the Chapman family. Of course, past clients, Mrs. Toyan, she's here. People from British Columbia and Alberta. So welcome. I think Roberto, I think we're almost ready to start. What do you think?
yeah.
Okay.
Ready to start.
We're ready to start. We're ready to really embrace all the knowledge that you have about Pisa and really enjoying it. So
Thank you. Thanks.
so it's 11 o'clock and we just have to be on time because that's what we like to do. I would like everyone to know that this webinar is being recorded. So please, if you'd like to, please turn off your video if that is something of important to you, but I need to let you know that Ciao Tours is recording this webinar. So I guess before we get started, I guess I have to introduce myself. My name is Arlene Schro. I am the director of Ciao Tours here in Canada. And this wonderful woman that's sitting over in Siena, Italy, her name is Laura Pozzi. She's the one that's admitting you. She's also my partner over in Siena, Italy. Also on this webinar, we have all the ladies from Ciao Tours. So if everyone from Ciao Tours can wave and say hello. We've got a lot of people, a lot, it's all women, sorry, but we're a lot of us are been with the company for many, many years. We are now, Ciao Tours is on our 23rd year of being in business. We are a company that just supports our local. We provide customized tours only to Italy, and we're able to get you into places that locals really actually can't. So locals, I'm sorry, where all the locals are. What I'd like to do now is hand over the reins over to Roberto. We're going to take around 90 minutes of your time to really entertain and really discuss the wonders of Pisa. This is a complimentary webinar. However, Roberto is doing this out of the kindness of his heart. We will be putting some information on the chat line if this is something that is appealing to you and that we can go forward with, if this is a project that a lot of people would like to see. There will be more information on that as well. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to go and listen to Roberto to let us know all the secrets of Pisa. So it's all up to you.
Thank you, Arlene, and thanks everybody for coming to this webinar. I'm honored to tell you a few things about Pisa, the famous Leaning Tower city here in Tuscany. I live in Florence, the capital, the main city of Tuscany. And Tuscany, it's the region where Florence is. It's one of the several regions of Italy. And in our beautiful region, besides my city, Florence, is Siena to the south, still in the same region, of course, and Pisa on the coast. I'm going to share my screen to start showing you a few things. And I would like to start from Google Map. So first of all, just tell me if you can see it. I'm showing you the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, great, thank you. And let's get closer, let's zoom in. Of course, this is the Italian peninsula and Rome is there. we keep zooming in, and we're focusing on Tuscany region, which is basically this area that is Florence, the capital, the main city of the region, and to the left of the screen, that is to say to the west, to the Tyrrhenian Sea, is the Torre di Pisa, the tower, the leaning tower of Pisa, and of course the city of Pisa. I keep zooming in just a little bit more because I want to show you this. And let's do it one more time. Okay. So what we're watching now is the city of Pisa, and the Torre di Pisa, the tower of Pisa, is on the north area of the city. To the south is Livorno. And the coast, the sea, it's a bit distant. It's away from the city of Pisa. It's around 7 miles away from Pisa. Used to be closer in the past. I'm showing you this because this territory was completely different when Pisa was born. Like the area down below, the green area over here, which is of course now an agricultural area. Well, this were several lagoons and swamps and canals, etc. Let me show you directly. So just keep in your mind this image, okay? Pisa to the north, Livorno, and let's compare it to what it was back in the past. So now we're going back to the 1500s from Google Map to this map, which is in the Vatican, in Rome, in the Vatican Museum. And let's do this because just to help us, I decided to do this, to circle. It's much better. So Florence is here, and it's Fiorenza. That's the old name of Florence. By the way, in English is Florence because that's closer to the original name of the city in Latin back Roman Empire time, 2000 years ago, when Florence was born. It was Florentia. That's where Florence come from. In the 1500s, that's when in the Vatican they painted this map. It was Fiorenza. The Arno River, the blue river I'm pointing out, keeps flowing west to the left of our screen and gets to Pisa. The area we just saw used to have a big gulf, kind of gulf, but actually was more of a lagoon inside over here between Pisa and Livorno. So this was the situation of the territory back then. If we move to the following image, we'll get an even better idea about it. Sorry, wrong image. Here we go. This is Pisa in the 11th century. So that's the city, the leaning tower under construction in the north area. Let's zoom in just a little. That's the leaning tower. Actually, not too tilted still. So back in 1,000 years ago, in the 11th century, the look was this. The city of Pisa was founded, as far as we know, by some Greek people coming from Greece, of course, from the east. Maybe it was a Greek colony, or maybe some refugees coming from Greece after the famous War of Troy. Anyway, the origin of the city has to be located probably 600-700 years before Jesus, something like this. And the name Pisa, both in Greek language and Etruscan language. The Etruscans were the first population of Italy here in this region. Well, the meaning of Pisa word is so similar to the Greek word Pisos, so Pisa, Pisos, that means well-watered area. And definitely, as you can see, it was well-watered, because what's blue, of course, it's the Arno River, which is the same one of Florence, flowing west to the left, and so many small lakes, lagoons all around. So from the city, they could move, they could sail to the sea. This was the city of Pisa around the 1500s. That's the area of the tower. The leaning tower is on the top left side, the tilted tower. It's just the bell tower of the Cathedral of Pisa, and that's the baptistry. So this was the city around the 1500s, 500 years ago, with the city walls all around, and all around it, of course, a similar situation. This is what I showed you before, and gives you an idea. Let's, okay, circle again. Gives you an idea about the kind of territory. So close to the sea, but not in front of the sea. To the south is one more city, this Livorno, Ligorn, which is facing the sea. Pisa is inside, not too distant, but distant enough to be safer. This was a perfect location because they could get to the sea through the several canals and the river. They could get easily to the sea. They were connected to the Livorno ports. So the one we're watching here, the one I'm pointing out to the south, was connected to Pisa through a canal, and this was one of their main accesses to the sea. Here's an image just to give you an idea about the look of that port to the south. So Pisa was a maritime republic, one of the big ones in Italy. And back then, the trades of Pisa, and let's go a few pictures back. Okay, so there's the Mediterranean Sea. Pisa is there. One more maritime republic, of course, was Genova to the north, Venice opposite to the right on the north side of this big gulf. Amalfi, you know, the Amalfi Coast to the south, the one I'm pointing out, was one more maritime republic. So basically Pisa trades were focusing to the west, the Balearic Islands, Spain, that's Barcelona, North Africa, Sardinia Island here, what I'm pointing out, Corsica Island, this now belongs to France, or Sicily to the south. What's dark green, it's the territori conquistati in Italian language. I couldn't find an English one, sorry. So this was Pisa territory, like the Corsica Islands back then, and this is a map of the 12th century, so 900 years ago. This was territory of Pisa. The Republic of Pisa covered completely the Corsica Islands and part of Sardinia, the Balearic Islands, and what's light green, it's where their commercial influence was. So they were a maritime republic, sailormen, and with their ships, they could travel to North Africa and to other parts of the Mediterranean, even to the east, the Byzantine Empire. We see Constantinople here. This is what's Istanbul nowadays. The construction of the famous monuments of Pisa started when Pisa was at its highest power. Let's get now closer to what I want to show you. Okay, the famous square, famous and gorgeous square of the Leaning Tower, it's this. This is such a beautiful image because we can see both the Leaning Tower, the cathedral, the Duomo, and the baptistry. Behind this white wall with the red roof is the cemetery, the old cemetery, and in the distance it's the Carrara Mountains. These are the mountains where the white marble comes from. Most of this and the white marble they used in Florence as well. The quarries are over there. I would like to show you an image of this same area back in the 1500s when, as I told you, the territory was slightly different because they, okay, sorry, just let me zoom out. They modified the territory. This is from a painting by Ghirlandaio. The actual painting is here in Florence. Ghirlandaio was the master, one of the teachers of Michelangelo. And this was the look of Pisa 500 years ago, the several canals and lakes and lagoons all around, not this close. Actually, this is a painting. It's not a photograph. So paintings are rarely depicting reality exactly as it was back then. Anyway, you see that the mountains, not as close as in real world, because this is reality, and in the painting they're closer, and the tower is straight, but it wasn't, because this tower, so let's focus, let's start now to get closer to the Pisa Tower, definitely the most famous monuments of the Miracle Square. That's the name of the Duomo Square in Pisa. The tower was built from the 1100s, and it started to tilt from the beginning. They built the cathedral first, and then eventually, let me go back to the other one. I prefer the first one I showed you because I want you to see more. Just give me a second, please. I want you to see the whole thing. This is better. So first, they started to build the cathedral from the 11th century, 1063. So the cathedral first, then the baptistry 1,000 years later, 1152, and then the tower. The tower was the bell tower of the cathedral. So where the bells are, actually on the Pisa bell tower, there are seven bells. It's quite rare to find not so many bells, but 7 bells. The tune of the 7 bells, it's the notes, the pitch, is the 7 notes of the major scale. So one bell is A, one bell is B, C, D, E, F, G. So it's the 7 notes of the major scale. That is to say, the 7 bells could play a complete full tune in C major scale. Anyway, they started to build from the 1173, when Pisa was one of the richest capitals of the Mediterranean Sea, for the reason I told you before. So many ships stopped in Pisa when sailing from Spain to Turkey. They stopped here in Italy. It was a really rich city, and they could build such a big monument. Actually, to say it all, the beginning of the construction was thanks to the money a widow, a woman, Berta di Bernardo, this was her name, and she was a widow, and she bequeathed a big amount of money given to the cathedral to build the campanile, the bell tower. That's what the Italian word campanile means. They started in 1172. They built first ground floor, second floor. From the second floor on, the tower started to tilt slightly, not as much as now. Now it's around 4 degrees tilted. Initially was around 0.6, 0.7 degrees, but they realized that it was leaning. And the reason is simple. As I showed you before, the area around it's rich of water. They built such a high tower. The Tower of Pisa is around, it's 184 feet tall, and it was built in the wrong place, on a soft grounds. It's down below, it's sand. It's, you know, the several layers, deposits of the sea and the rivers. So little by, and the foundation was a mere 10 feet foundation. So not enough to hold such a high tower, 184 feet. So from the beginning, from the 1180s, 10 years later, as soon as they got to the second floor, started to tilt. But eventually they had to stop. It was a big war between Florence and Pisa, and next, that was 100 years later, a final war between Pisa and Genova to the north. But just to make it simple, it took 200 years to build the whole tower. So they stopped here at the second floor after a few years. Then eventually they put some more floors and they stopped again. They completed the whole thing just in the 1300s. And they started, as I told you, in the 1100s. Just to give you some numbers, this was built from 1172 to 1372. So 200 years. Of course, not 200 years of working, constant working time, but they stopped so many times, most of the times for the wars, because Pisa Republic, the Republic of Pisa, the wealth of the city changed so much. Just to give you an idea, a quick idea, when they started to build the tower back in the 1100s, the city was extremely rich. As soon as they finished, at the end of the 1300s, Pisa defaulted, literally defaulted. What I mean is this: to pay the debits, they sold the city to the lords of Milan, the famous Italian city to the north. So the city of Milan literally bought Pisa for around $200 million of today. So not too much, actually, if you think that they bought a city. What they wanted was the port, and the money the people of Pisa got was meant to repay the debits. Then eventually, a few years later, Florence conquered Pisa, and so the people of Milan lost what they just bought. Anyway, going back to the tower, then I'll tell you a few more things about the story. But they realized that it was tilted, so they tried to correct the inclination. The Pisa Tower, it's not exactly straight, but it's a slight curve. One side, this to the left, it's a kind of, kind of banana shape. That's what I mean, because they tried to correct the inclination, the tilting, because they knew that this was tilting. Let's go and see it from a different perspective. This is so beautiful because it's down below, and there's the excess. This gives you an idea about how tilted it is. This is the excess. It's the entrance to the tower. It's the beginning of the 294 steps to get to the top. Old steps, as you can tell. So, and it's a spiral stairway, and then eventually gets to the top. You see less bells than what I told you, because some are smaller and some are bigger. So we see the big ones here, and the view all around. This is watching down below. The view is gorgeous. Okay, then I'll tell you about that. So they tried to solve the problem, but as a matter of fact, back in the 80s, late 80s, something happened. In a different city of Italy, in Pavia, this tower on the left side of the Duomo of Pavia, the bell tower of the Pavia Duomo fell, and of course was a disaster. 4 people died. The tower collapsed suddenly, all of a sudden. Was an unpredictable event. That's what the engineers said. And it was not as tilted as the Leaning Tower of Pisa. This happened in 1989. So immediately in 1990, they started to think about the Tower of Pisa, because there was a big risk over there. Let me give you some numbers. And let me get to, okay. So that's the straight line. Okay, let's get closer. Back in 1990, the tower was tilted 5.5 degrees to the south. That is to say, to the right of the screen. And the critical angle, the close to the tipping point, was 5.4. And we got to 5.5. So we were beyond the critical angle and close to the tipping point. So immediately they had to intervene. What they did is quite, I would say, simple. First of all, they put, let me look for the numbers, because this is a lot of numbers and some, okay. This is, it's lead ingots, lead weights they put on the north side of the tower. So of course over here, it was a heavy load, and I'm looking, just be patient. Okay, there it is. No, that's a different thing, sorry. Okay, 600 tons of lead ingots on this side, which is the picture. Thanks for your patience, by the way. The picture I just showed you, this. So this is 600 tons of lead ingots. Just to straighten up the tower slightly to the left, to get to this, besides the lead ingots, they did some excavation. They were drilling here, and they removed 38 cubic meters of soil. So they emptied, in a way, this section, okay? They put the lead ingots, and naturally, slightly, and well, this cable, stabilizing cable, was keeping the tower still, and little by little, naturally, thanks to the weight, the tower tilted opposites. Of course, it took time, because works were from 1992 to 2001, so it's 9 years. It was a long work. And this is one more image. This is the cable I was mentioning. And I see some people in the waiting room, but Laura, okay, great. So those are the cables they used. This, we already saw it. It's the lead ingots. And one more I wanted to show you. Yeah, it's the base stabilizing cable was getting to the lower layer. See the soil, it's sandy and clays, silts, it's really a soft soil. So that's the problem. Anyway, after the consolidation, after this long work, they basically solved the problem. So now they reduced from 1992 to 2001 the tilting from 5.5 degrees to 3.97. 3.97. It's about 4 degrees. And this is good. It's enough. It's enough to keep it standing. The engineers said that for the following 300 years, it's stabilized. And I would like to show you now a quick video, because maybe you could wonder why they didn't put it straight. Well, the reason why they put it straight, they didn't, it's because, of course, in Pisa, they do want the tower to tilt a little, or more than a little. The picture we just saw for a second before, this one, is showing tourists doing one of the most popular sports in Pisa, that is to say, taking pictures of themselves holding up the tower. And there are so many people doing this. The video I'm going to show you now, it's exactly about this, and then I'll show you one more. So let's start from the first one, which is showing the effect, the results of these apparently crazy people holding up the tower. And what's coming out is this. It's quite clear, I guess. So they didn't want the tower to be straight. In the other video clip I'm going to show you now, this is really quick. It's just really a minute. But this one too gives you an idea about how important it is, the tilted tower. This is from a movie. And the title I put is They Wanted Like That. It's a souvenir stand. Oh, yeah.
Fabulous.
So,
Absolutely fabulous. That's fabulous.
of course, no, thanks, Arlene. No gratitude for Superman. That's a total disaster. Even worse than coronavirus. Absolutely total disaster. The tower has to be tilted. Not, we don't want it to collapse, but has to be tilted. And now it's in, it's the correct leaning. Around it is the cathedral. Let's see some pictures, and the baptistry. Let's see some pictures of what's around, and then we walk through the city, because there's more than this, but I want to show you more pictures. So let's start from the other one. This baptistry to the left, baptistry. So what they built first, as I told you, was the cathedral. Let me tell you dates quickly again, because it's old dates. They started to build the cathedral on the year 1063. So 1,000 years ago, basically, 950 years ago. Then next, 1152 is when they started to build the baptistry, and then 1173, the tower. It's such a beautiful, amazing, crazy square. It's beautiful on pictures, but it's even better seeing the real.
Do they, on a Sunday, would you actually be able to go to Mass? Would you be able to participate?
Generally, in a cathedral like this, same as in Florence, part of, because you know the monuments, and by the way, answering to your question, let's get through it. So let's see the inside of the Duomo. Here we go. That's the main altar. There are Sunday services, but not from the main altar. What we're watching is the main altar, and that's the apse, of course, the beautiful mosaic on the apse. Same as in Florence, some smaller chapels could be reserved for the daily services. It depends, because it's a building like this plays two different roles. Museum, that's the gorgeous ceiling, museum and temple and church. So the solution they found in basically any important cathedral like this one, or the one of Florence, the one in Milan, it's this. In smaller chapels, in some parts of the cathedral, there is a way to go to the service on Sunday, whereas the rest of the church is open for tourism. And generally, the church is open for tourism after a certain time, like in Florence is after 10 a.m., and in Pisa it's pretty much the same. The facade is amazing as well. Let me show you a picture of the front, if I find it. There we go. This is beautiful because we see both the main facade of the church, the dome of the cathedral, and the bell tower right behind. It's a separate bell tower. There's a mystery. So many bell towers belonging to a church in Italy are separate. This is something I wouldn't say impossible to find, but extremely rare to find in other countries. In Italy, it's quite common, and we don't know why. One of the few answers to this that makes sense is that they could have been recycling initially older towers to build the bell tower, and not necessarily the bell tower had to be part of the church. In this case, is separate. Inside the Duomo is a masterpiece. By the way, before I show you this, let me show you this image. This is not Pisa, this is near Venice. It's a cathedral. It's the cathedral of the city of Cittadella, near Padua, near Venice. See Domus Dei. Domus Dei means house, domus, of the Lord. Domus Dei, and then et porta celi, that is to say, and gates of heavens. But domus is where the Italian word duomo, D-U-O-M-O, comes from, because the Duomo is the cathedral. That is to say, it's the house of God. That's where Duomo comes from. And cathedral, the English words cathedral, comes from this. This is the cathedra, or seat, or better, throne of a bishop. This is beautiful. It's in Ravenna, south of Venice. And it's an old one because this is 1,500 years old. And this is where the bishop of Ravenna, Maxime, used to sit. It was his seat, his throne. The throne, the seat of a bishop, it's called cathedra in Latin. The cathedral is the bishop's church. So that's where the English word cathedral comes from the cathedra, from the bishop's church. So the cathedral is the main church of a city, and it's where the bishop gives services from the main altar, of course. Inside is the beautiful, there's a masterpiece by Giovanni Pisano, the pulpits of the beginning of the 1300s, of different kind of marble and all carved and sculpted, Giovanni Pisano. One more pulpit is, and this is by Giovanni Pisano's father, Nicola Pisano. This is in front of the cathedral inside the baptistry, because facing the cathedral is, as we saw, the baptistry. The baptistry too is from the same time, 1152, and beautiful. This is Romanesque style down below. See the round arches? That's one of the main features of Romanesque style. Romanesque style comes basically from the Roman Empire architecture. It's quite similar to Roman Empire. That's where Romanesque comes from. It's marble, of course, two different colors, white and dark gray. And the second level has pointed arches. If we get closer, we see it better. See, that's a pointed arch. So this is mixing Romanesque and Gothic architecture. What's more of a Gothic architecture here? It's the pinnacles. So this is a mix of Romanesque round arches and Gothic pinnacles. Gothic was coming from France. If we would walk through, we would see this, the baptismal font. Let's get to the other one. This was an actual, I wouldn't say swimming pool, but it was an immersion baptism. The earliest baptism rite ceremony was an immersion, same as Jesus did in the Jordan River. He got, you know, he walked through the river. So there was water all around the person when the person was baptized. And such a beautiful architecture, a simple one, is really simple and essential, but so beautiful. It's a circular building. Let's go back to the outside. See, it's a circular one, and the circle is a symbol of eternity. It has no beginning and no end, because baptism is the access for people who believe to eternal life. And then the baptistry, the baptismal font is 8-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Same as so many others. 8 is one more number of eternity, because the word was created in 7 days. The 8th day doesn't exist. It's the day of eternal life. And the inside of the baptistry, and this is one more image of the vaults, and this is the dome, so beautiful. The dome is a kind of pyramid. See, the inside dome is a kind of pyramid triangle, whereas the outside dome is more of a circular one. And this gives and the whole thing is inscribed a star. So the project is an extremely refined one. Never forget that in Pisa, in 1170 was born this guy. This is Fibonacci, a man of the 1100s, 1170 when he was born. And he's the one who brought Hindu Arabic numbers to Europe. So that's when they started to use the numbers we still use, not Roman numerals, but the Hindu Arabic numbers, our numbers. And geometry and mathematics were extremely important and developed. So the project is a sophisticated one. The whole thing is inscribed inside a star. And one more thing I would like to show you now, and then I'll give you time for questions as well. This is just a quick clip. Inside the baptistry, there is a special acoustic. The whole inside of the baptistry is a resonating chamber. That is to say, it's exactly as if we could walk through the hall of, you know, a guitar, like walking through this. So, of course, the sound inside is special. And let me play the clip. I hope sound is good because it's so difficult to edit sounds. I edited the video, but let's try. It's a resonating chamber and there's a natural reverb. They were playing, that was not people singing, unfortunately, but they play a tape, a CD, an audio file every hour inside, just to let you hear this magic, mystical reverb all around. And in front is the cemetery, the historical cemetery, still part of the same area. So there's the cemetery near the cathedral. In this, as well as from the same time, the cemetery is exactly 1277. There are so many corridors. So this is the let's say courtyards, okay? It's a kind of, it's like a cloister of a church, and all around it's 4 corridors. This is a wide angle picture, so we see 1 corridor here and 1 more to the right. This is a closer view of a single side of a corridor, and old paintings of the 1300s on the walls. It's such a beautiful place too. What I mean is that Pisa deserves a day trip or even more. This is the other we already saw. And from the Tower of Pisa, as far as we know, Galileo Galilei did some experiments. That's what tradition say. This is Galileo Galilei, the one of the fathers of modern physics, the astronomer born in Pisa. He was a citizen of Pisa. He was born there in 1564, on the same year when Michelangelo died in Rome. And Galileo did some experiments about the falling bodies. Just to tell you the bitter truth. So let's forget for a second about romanticism and romantic literature. We would love to see Galileo climbing up. Well, first of all, he wasn't this old. He was around 30 years old when he did the experiments. Anyway, climbing up to the top and pulling down stones or other objects of a different weight to verify that his theories were working or not, but probably he didn't do it. I mean, who wrote about it was one of his pupils, Vincenzo Viviani. As a matter of fact, probably it was more of a theoretical experiment about gravity. As a matter of fact, the only way to experiment what he wanted to show was to do it without air around, in a vacuum environment. In a couple of words, Aristotle said that the falling of the speed falling of a body depended on the weight. It's what we see, you know, if you throw a feather from a terrace and you throw a cannonball, the cannonball is falling down quickly. And so for a long time, they have been thinking that the gravity was depending on the mass of a body. As a matter of fact, gravity is the same. The gravity force is the same for every kind of body. What's changing the speed is the attrition of the air. Since I'm not a physician and I'm not an expert, I found and I edited, so I did some cut and paste, a beautiful clip I would like to show you, because this is the BBC and it's really getting straight to the point. I appreciated this so much. So let me show you this.
Galileo's experiment was simple. He took a heavy object and a light one and dropped them at the same time to see which fell fastest. Now in this case, the feathers fell to the ground at a slower rate than the bowling ball because of air resistance. So in order to see the true nature of gravity, we have to remove the air. It takes 3 hours to pump out the 800,000 cubic feet of air from the chamber. 2, 1, release. Look at that. They came down.
Yeah, so that's the point. And of course, Galileo Galilei couldn't do it. He did other experiments. Maybe he was thinking about throwing something from the tower. Maybe he did, maybe not. But it's just a romantic view of this thing. For sure, Galileo was born in Pisa, and he lived over there the first part of his life, and maybe the tower gave him some inspiration or opportunity to do it. But to get to the point, he should have been doing this in a vacuum environment. Okay, let's leave physics now because it's too complicated, and let me take you through the city. Let me take you through Pisa. I chose some postcards of the city because Pisa, it's a city I adore. It's just an hour basically away from Florence without traffic, an hour and a half if it's busy, and it's so beautiful. I will be showing you several pictures. This is one of the Lungarni, that is to say the riverside of Pisa along the Arno River. The yellow building here was one of the Medici buildings, and then eventually the Royal Palace. It's a modest architecture, but so beautiful inside. There's one more beautiful picture of the Arno River, and that's the Ponte di Mezzo, the middle bridge. Rowing and rowers, same as in Florence. One of the old fortresses, there's a better picture, it's the Cittadella. This was the fortress built by the Medici. Again, the Medici took Pisa in the 1500s. So again, this was an independent republic from the 11th century all the way to the 15th century. 400 years of independence, and then next Pisa was under the control basically of Florence for the rest of the time. This is the church. I love this, and you know, I never had the chance to see the inside. It is always closed, it's always under restoration, but it's beautiful. There's a way to catch a glimpse because there are windows, so I could, well, stare through, but no way to walk through it. It's the Holy Sepulchre Church, 1113, built in 1113. It's called Holy Sepulchre Church because there were some relics of the Holy Sepulchre. And the first crusade, the one of 1099, left from Pisa. There were so many people from Pisa. This is the main, larger, and most beautiful square. It's Piazza dei Cavalieri. This is not too far away from the Leaning Tower. So if you're going to Pisa, go and see the Leaning Tower first, because that's what we all do, including me. When I'm going there now, generally I start from the Duomo Square, the Piazza dei Miracoli, the Duomo Square where the Leaning Tower is. It's called the Miracle Square because it's a miracle of beauty. And then like 5-10 minutes walking away, it's this Piazza dei Cavalieri. The building in the middle, it's one of the most prestigious universities here in Italy. It's the Scuola Normale di Pisa. 2 Italian presidents studied there, some Nobel prizes as well studied at this university. It's an old one. This dates back not to the Medici time, but to Napoleon time. One more image. This is Cosimo de' Medici, the statue. This is gorgeous. Along the river is a building of terracotta. This is the Red Palace, or Palazzo Agostini, and it's 1400s, built since the 1400s. There's a cafe down below and people relaxing and sipping some cappuccino, reading the newspaper. It's an old cafe. This is a picture of the beginning of the 1900s. So it's beautiful to spend some time over there. Let's keep going. Facing opposite almost is the Blue Palace. The Blue Palace, 1500s. This is a museum, has no permanent collection, but so many different exhibits through the year. One more palace that used to belong to the Medici. There's a palace originally built in the Middle Ages. The city walls of Pisa are still standing, most of the city walls. This is some of the city walls around the Duomo, and the city walls were built in 1155 when the city was at the height of its splendor. The beginning of the end of Pisa was 1284, the Meloria battle. in 1284, Genova defeated Pisa. So that was the beginning of the decline of the city. And then eventually they built a completely brand new port because the city was too far away from the sea. Let's keep strolling. This is Piazza Garibaldi. I love it because I love this red palace. It's so beautiful and gives me some kind of 1800s feel. That is to say, when I'm going there, I feel like traveling through one of the old pictures, and people are warm and friendly, sometimes even too warm. But
there's some great
nice...
shopping down that street too, by the way, Roberto. There's some great shops. Fabulous,
yeah, exactly.
fabulous shops.
Yeah, Borgo Street. Now we'll see. In a minute we'll see it. This is Piazza Dante Alighieri, you know, Dante, the one of Dante's Inferno, the father of Italian language. This is a kind of tropical feel. Pisa has a beautiful climate. It's not too far away from the sea, you know. Nowadays, just a few miles, and palm trees, such a beautiful lights and a blue sky. Really, so often I'm leaving from Florence, it's cloudy and raining. I get to Pisa, it's sunny and a few degrees more. This is Piazza Cairoli, one more colored, beautiful square with some cafes to sit down and enjoy and relax. This is the area of the train station. That's a statue of the first Italian king. It's dedicated to him, the square. This is, and in a minute we'll get to the street Arlene was mentioning. This is Piazza delle Vettovaglie. A good English translation would be, well, maybe you could help me more, like Didi, food square. Vettovaglie is food, actually. It's a market square, both clothes and vegetables on Sunday. So beautiful. This is, well, when it's clean. At night, it's, you know, life and people drinking and eating. Now, of course, it's different because there's a curfew, but we'll get back to this hopefully soon. One more image still of the Piazza delle Vettovaglie. Just to give you an idea, this is like 20-30 minutes walking quietly away from the tower. It's not too far away. I mean, just walk as usual. This is Borgo Street, the one Arlene was mentioning. This is on the side. This is so beautiful. So many shops and such a beautiful street. And alleyways, you know, like this, mostly on the other side of the river. Beautiful, picturesque alleyways.
You know, Roberto, I really think that Pisa, people will go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but they really need to spend more time discovering this beautiful city. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It's more than that, of course, really.
You can actually rent a bike. You can actually rent bicycles, and you can actually actually enjoy a day cycling all around this beautiful city.
Yeah, and it's all flat. Yes,
yeah.
It's not too
easy to do.
Easy to do. Yes, correct, exactly. There are more churches. Like this is a smaller one than the Duomo, same style. It's St. Michael. There's the inside, similar, but of course smaller. One more is on the See the Leaning Tower. This gives you an idea about the city. The Leaning Tower is there, Cathedral and Baptistry. Then what we did, theoretically, virtually, was walking to this area. The alleys and stairs and streets we just saw are here. And opposite, on the other side, this is St. Paul, on the river, on the Arno river bank. It's called San Paolo a Ripa d'Arno. One more church of the 1149. Same church, different perspectives. There's the beautiful, simple inside. One more, to get here, you need a car. It's like 10 minutes away from Pisa. It's an old church, 1,000 years old. 1,000-year-old. It's St. Peter. This used to be by one of those lakes I showed you initially, and it's supposed to be the place where St. Peter 2,000 years ago got to Italy. He landed, he docked in Italy, traditions say, at near Pisa, near the Pisa port. The inside is frescoed and beautiful. The outside, the city, not too far away, but it takes a car to drive over there. And I would like to show you now this traditions, folklore. In June, there are so many traditional things in Pisa. One is the Luminaire. It's like the holiday of the light. It's for the, it's dedicated to the local saint, Saint Renerius, not famous internationally, not even in the rest of Italy. June 16, okay, it's called Luminara, the feast of the lights. This is 100,000 candles, 2,000 volunteers put all over the city, on the balconies, inside frames, around the windows. Let's get, okay, so this is the candles in their cups. And this is what they do. They put them all around the balconies, inside some, well, iron rings. Of course, it's just for the day. And then they do fireworks as well. There's one more image of the candles on bridges as well. So June 16, generally a warm day. So it's so pleasant to stay, to hang around outside. There's the Blue Palace, one of my favorite one, with the lights all around. One more gorgeous picture. This is magical. It's so beautiful. And well, electric lights on the tower, of course, but the whole city is lighted. It's in honor of the local patron saint, Saint Renerius, who was born in Pisa. Fireworks at the end. And pictures gives you an idea, but I found a time lapse that gives you an even better idea of this. So let's see this quick but quite effective clip. So 100,000 lamps and plus fireworks, June 16. Then on the following day, June 17, is the rowing race.
Roberto, just got a really quick question for you. It is always on the 16th, no matter if it's going to be on a Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday. It's always the 16th, no matter what. And then, of course, this is going to be on the 17th, no matter what day of the week it is. Is that correct?
Yeah. As far as I know, it's like this. Whereas the other thing I'll be talking about in a minute, it's the last Saturday of June. But the Luminara is for Saint Renierius Day. Saint Renierius Day is June 17, and the lights are on the eve. Like it's like, Christmas Eve kind of, but in the summertime. So June 16 is the lights and fireworks at night, of course. On the following day, it's the race, the rowing race. And then the last Saturday of June, same month, is a kind of brutal, perfect Pisa style game. And it's this, they put a wagon. This is a wagon on actual tracks. See, it's like a train, a train wagon. It's on the middle central bridge, the Ponte Di Mezzo, which is in the middle of the city. And it's a game, it's the game of the bridge. No need to tell you why, it's on a bridge. It's played between 12 different teams, 6 teams of the South Bank and 6 of the North Bank. The people from the south come here to the left, people from the north to the other side, and the goal is to push the wagon to the other side. And they're pushing, with their backs, their shoulders. If you try to push with your shoulders, it's much more complicated than push in front. It's big people from, this is people coming from several different universities of Pisa, of course. They try to take the intellectuals. No, this is people, it's massive. So not me. I wouldn't be the right guy. It's, massive people. For this, I found one more clip, because in my opinion, when talking about things like this, it takes the video. So let me show you this, because this gives you an idea. There's the historical parade. So this is the last Saturday of June, and it's the game of the bridge, still in Pisa. Historical parade, the costumes of the 1500s, and then the match between North and South Bank of the city. And the slogan is, what they scream at the end is, in Italian, but let me give you the English translation. And no matter who wins no matter who wins the banner, because there's a banner, Pisa will always win. So no matter who's the winner, between North Bank and South Bank, the winner is the whole city. Kind of patriotic. It's basically like the two generals giving the declaration of war, you know, the beginning, the general, the captain, the fight. Okay, so let's get to the last points before we close, because as usual, I wanted to close with food and wine. But before talking about that, let me tell you more about the local traditions. There's a big hostility between Pisa and Livorno to the south. Pisa was the older port. So Pisa, as far as we know, was founded by the Greeks, then eventually became a port, an important one during the Roman Empire, then Middle Ages, until the descent of the river, turned Pisa into a city too far away from the coast. And the Medici in the 1500s decided basically to close the activity of the port in Pisa, and they built the city of Livorno. Ligorn, it's the youngest city in Tuscany. It's just 400 years old, 450. So there's a rivalry between the two cities, because basically Livorno, the new port, back then was stealing the work to Pisa. Pisa has a longer tradition. Pisa is the city of culture. There's an important university, whereas Ligorn was built 450 years ago, and to colonize the territories, they invited former prisoners to live there, same as they did in other colonies, or people who didn't want to pay taxes moved to Ligorn to colonize the territory. Anyway, the rivalry turns into this. On street signs, you could find interesting things like Livorno Center, okay, and then Pisa, fraction of Livorno, as if Pisa was province of Livorno, and it's not, because it's two separate cities, or even worse. Now, forgive me about the obscene words, not too obscene, it's just one. Okay, this is the typical one. Forza Livorno, up with Livorno, and this is a kind of a slogan, and it's Pisa merda. In French, it's similar in English. The translation is jerk. Well, literally, merda is, okay, let me tell you, is S-H-I-T. Okay.
I think we can all handle that on this webinar.
This is the anthem of people from Livorno. So you find it all over the places, on so many walls, even in Pisa, because there are people from Livorno going to Pisa to write Pisa merda on their walls, or down below in the sea.
Bravo.
The people of Livorno hate Pisa, or when traveling. A good translation would be Pisa sucks, I guess. Or in Jamaica, you know, on the shores of Jamaica, 2005, Pisa merda. This was for sure a tourist coming from Livorno, and keep calm and Pisa merda. And well, some important testimonials like Albert Einstein, who used to write Pisa Merda on the blackboard, or some more recent one. This is so fun, it's Greta Thunberg, and what's written in Italian is save the planet, but Pisa. So let's save the whole planet, not Pisa. This is, of course, by people from Livorno. And to conclude, let's get to food and wine. First of all, let me show you this, because this is the feel when, you know, hanging around and wasting time and enjoying the city. So many cafes, so many places to sit down to chat with locals. They're open and they're friendly most of the time. Really, it's warm people. They are more, the people of Florence are more closed in a way. The people of Pisa are more open and warm. And this is the Borgo Street that we were talking about before. And a lot of vegetable and fruit markets like this. Sorry for the copyright, but this picture was so beautiful that I decided to pick it up the same, because colors were so beautiful. And okay, there are the famous wines of Tuscany are coming from other areas, but there are some important ones. It's strong wines like Monte Scudaio. Okay, this is the red one. And this is basically, so it's Monte Scudaio, rosso, because it's red wine, from the area south of Pisa. It's Sangiovese grape, so quite similar in a way to the Chianti, I would say. But of course, different soil, etc. Or the Monte Scudaio Bianco, so same area. By the way, Monte Scudaio, it's this village. So it's the wine production around this village, and this is not too far away from Pisa. The Bianco, the white one, is 70% Vermentino grape and 70% Trebbiano grape and 30 Vermentino. It's a strong white wine. It's 13% of alcohol. Generally, the white wines are around 11.5, 12. This gets to 14 as well. And it's, well, as usual, good to eat fish, but it's to taste. I mean, if you're going to Pisa, remember the Monte Scudaio, because it's, well, part of the local experience. They make a good Vin Santo as well, with the
very good
kind of liqueur, but sweet. There's 16% of alcohol from San Torpe. That's the area where they make it. It's still around. It's the village in the background. Of course, Vin Santo with the cantuccini cookies. The local food, because the famous ones are from other parts of Tuscany, but there are some peculiarities. This is the Bordatino, Bordatino. Bordatino, it's corn flour. And it's a poor dish of the agricultural tradition. It's beans, black cabbage, and corn flour. It's a kind of polenta, kind of a solid soup. So good, especially in wintertime, of course. If you have this when it's 100 Fahrenheit, it's committing suicide. But in wintertime, it's so good. And the T-bone steak, which is the Florentine, of course, famous dish, but this is coming from a local cow, this poor guy called Mucco, the Mucco Pisano. The Mucco, M-U-C-C-O, it's a funny word in Italian language because mucca, M-U-C-C-A, it's the name of the cow. And this is not a bull, looks similar to a bull, but it's a cow, so it's female. And gives milk as well, and soft, good meat. It's a different taste, of course. It's not the Chianina cow, the one of the original Florentine T-bone steak, but it's the Mucco Pisano, M-U-C-C-O. Or rice with truffle. Truffle comes from Volterra and other hills in the territory of Pisa. Like this is one of the areas, that's the beautiful city of Volterra, driving away from Pisa, of course, to the south, white and black truffle from this area. Or they make some pasta. You could find this on Amazon because this picture comes from Amazon. It's the Martelli family making pasta, only 5 types, 5 kinds of pasta, not more. This is the fusilli, and they play a kind of a joke because the tilted fusillo reminds a bit of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And this is, the company is running since 1927. They still use to make pasta the old machines of the 1940s. It's a family-run company, Martelli Pasta, from the village of Lari, L-A-R-I, on the hills around Pisa. And then olive oil, extra virgin olive oil from the Monti Pisani, the Pisa hills, more than mountains around. A lot of olive oils, same as in the rest of Tuscany. So beautiful landscapes like this with plenty of olive oil trees and spectacular production of this food and medicine, because when olive oil is real extra virgin olive oil, not filtered and made the old way, it's really kind of a magic potion. It's and good as well, tastes delicious. Honey, this is honey made by the bees, of course, and it's made near the San Rossore wood. So the bees are picking up pollen from the flowers by the sea, and the honey are the honey of San Rossore, that's the name, Migliarino, San Rossore, Massaciuccoli, that's the area. The honey of the coast of Pisa is peculiar. And pine nuts, still from the same area, San Rossore wood, and they make spectacular cakes, like this is ricotta and pine nuts cake. And we close our talk about Pisa with the cake. So let me give you time for questions now. Let me check if I
Roberto, is I'm going to
sure.
unmute everybody.
This one once again.
I've just asked everyone to unmute, if they'd like to unmute, they're more than welcome to, and we can ask you freely. I know Lara wanted to say thank you and everything else, but we've also opened up, if anyone wants to unmute themselves, please go right ahead or ask Roberto any questions that they'd like to have.
Yeah, feel free to ask, please. First of all, thanks for your attention and for giving us to Ciao Tours, for giving us the opportunity to do this, and to you, the public, the audience, for watching us and being so patient. And feel free to ask whatever. Thank you. Yeah, San Rossore, Pinewood. Yeah, Medici family, correct. Thank you.
Laura,
So
are you
if we're
okay?
going back
Yes,
to
Roberto, thank you
Yes.
very much for
Thank-
let's walk through this wonderful city that we invite you to visit, because as Roberto explained us, it's much more than just the Piazza dei Miracoli. So thank you again, and we inform you that we will have another webinar on the next Sunday, on the 28th. Will be with Bernardo, and will be about the David, so Michelangelo David. We remember you that we promote all these webinars to support our guides that we love a lot. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And thank you for what you're writing. Grazie. Thanks, really. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
I think, Laura, you and I can both, the whole idea is of all these webinars is literally to make sure that, we know we're getting phone calls left, right, and center about getting, for 2021, I know we already have clients ready to go, and we're booking for 2021, and we're booking for 2022. It is going to be a fabulous time in 2021, and 22 for everyone to enjoy. Laura, you're ready to you're ready.
And I just would like to thank as well my colleagues, Luca and Bernardo, because they're not just colleagues, but real, sincere friends. And that's something so rare to find. So I'm lucky to work with them.
We wait
with Ciao Tours, because Ciao Tours as well is a special travel agent. It's more of a family than a travel agent, really. So thanks everybody, and thanks to the audience again.
Thank you to you, and thank you for all the participants. We wait for you next Sunday. Be with us. Ciao.
Grazie.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao. Ciao a tutti.
Roberto, grazie.
Grazie Roberto.
Bye.
Very, very interesting.
Ciao Roby.
Ciao
Roby, grande.
Ciao.
Sei stato nominato pisano ad honorem.
Pisano. Non so se è un insulto.
Per qualcuno sì, per qualcun altro sarà un onore.
A parte le scritte, hai fatto vedere troppe scritte.
Ma io amo Pisa sulla costa e Siena all'interno. Quando mi muovo da Firenze mi piacciono queste due, davvero, non per fare il ruffiano, è la verità. Mi piace anche Luca.
Poi riguardo alle scritte, se uno ci va in macchina a Pisa, da Firenze o da Livorno, è abbastanza inevitabile non vederle. Devi avere proprio le fette di salame sugli occhi per non vederle, perché
insults between Pisa and Livorno so frequent to
sono
see.
dappertutto. Sì, diciamo che anzi a Livorno hanno anche inventato un giornale, una rivista che esce tutti i mesi da 40 anni, dedicata solamente ad insultare i pisani. Quindi diciamo che è la loro missione nella vita, quello di prendersi gioco dei pisani.
L'episodio, quello che posso raccontare io, è che mio cugino, che fa parte ha fatto una spedizione, my cousin, he did an expedition in Antartide, so in the South Pole, in the Concordia base, the Italian-French Concordia base, for 1 year. He was buried there basically for 1 year, and the only picture he sent, it was like 400 kilometers away from the coast, in a place where that's the coldest place on earth. He just wrote the panel, with Pisa Merda on top, but he was and we were all very proud of him. We were really
but it's a joke among labor.
It's a way to love each other.
Yeah, but it's a joke mostly done by labor people, not citizens, not
for fun. Yeah.
Pisa one.
Okay.
Well, at least
Grazie.
now they can
Not
solve
bad.
their issues by playing football once in a while. Pisa against versus Livorno. So it's a modern way to solve some sort of controversies and
Rivalry.
competition.
Mhm.
At least they don't kill each other anymore.
All right, I think
A
we're
big hug.
bye for the rest of the day, and I know everyone has things to do, so we just want to see everyone next Sunday. We're going to be talking about data.
Okay.
Okay, thanks again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you next Sunday.
Ciao.
See you
See you
next
Sunday,
Sunday.
everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.